Today I'm making something really special and unusual that's also delicious and healthy. I'm grilling a piece of fillet steak and serving it with roasted wild mushrooms, a fresh herb salsa verde, and a poached quail egg. Mushrooms are a wonderful addition to your diet because they're really low in calories, but they've got lots of nutrition. So they've got really good levels of copper and selenium, for example. What's amazing about all of these mushrooms that I'm using today is that they were all collected around Cape Town in the forests and on the mountain. So that's lovely, and you think you can go out and pick yourself some mushrooms, but you must go with an expert because many of the mushrooms out there are deadly poisonous. I really want to showcase the natural flavors in these mushrooms, so I'm just cutting them all to about the same size. And I'm going to put them in a bowl, toss them in some olive oil and smoked sea salt, and roast them for about half an hour in a hot oven.
Different mushrooms have different tastes and textures, so you can experiment with different types and combinations of mushrooms.
Next I'm cooking the steak, but before I cook it I need to season it with some salt and black pepper. And because fillet steak has very little fat on it, I'm adding a little bit of olive oil just so that it protects it in the pan. Make sure it's nice and hot, because if you put it into a cold pan, you're going to lose all the moisture from the steak, so it must seal as soon as it goes into the pan. Once you've got a nice sealed brown crust on one side, you can turn it over and do the same on the other side, and then you can turn it regularly during cooking to distribute the juices.
Remember to watch your portion size when creating red meat-based dishes. Try to keep it between 100 and 200 grams of meat and try to get the best quality and leanest cut.
My steak is done and it needs to rest for 5 minutes, which is enough time for me to make my salsa verde and poach an egg. I start off by putting 1 anchovy and some salt into my pestle and mortar and grind it up together. Then I add chopped up coriander, parsley and chives, a little bit of olive oil and a squeeze of lemon juice and a little pinch of the grated lemon zest as well. It's the most amazing thing to eat with all kinds of meat and fish. Now for the quail eggs. This method is exactly the same poaching method that you would use to cook a normal egg, but you cook it for much less time because quail eggs are absolutely tiny. So they need 1 minute, 2 minutes max in the hot water. It's a very good idea to crack them into another container before you put them into your poaching water, just because some of them are not always perfect and you don't want to throw them into the water and create a big mess. And what I have here is water that's boiling away. I'm actually turning the water right off. I'm pouring some salt and a little bit of vinegar in there. When it looks like it's dissolved, then I'm pouring a little quail egg in. So you can turn the heat back on if you think that the water's getting cool. Everything is ready, so I'm starting with the mushrooms. And what's really important is that mushrooms don't have to be eaten just like this on the side. You can cook them into risottos or make stew. They're just a really great addition and add a lot of flavor. So the steak can go on top of the mushrooms. Drizzle a little bit of the salsa verde on top, and then the quail egg. Finish off with a pinch of black pepper. So don't be afraid to use new and unusual ingredients in your food. You can create beautiful, healthy dishes, and it's really good to add variety to your diet.